My fiancé declared, "I need an open relationship or the wedding is off." I replied calmly, "Okay, let's do it." Then I immediately set up 3 dates with her friends and flaunted my newfound freedom. She was shocked and begged to call the whole thing off. I, 32mm, am, or rather was, engaged to Chloe, 30F. We've been together for 5 years, engaged for 1. Wedding plans were in full swing. Venue booked, deposits paid, the whole 9 yards. Everything seemed fine, or so I thought. Last Tuesday, Chloe sat me down. She looked serious, which isn't unusual for her when she wants to discuss something important, but the vibe was off. "Look," she started, fiddling with a coaster. "I've been doing a lot of thinking, about us, about what I need." I waited. My mind raced through possibilities. Cold feet? A problem with her family? "I need more," she finally said. "More experiences. More freedom. Before we get married, I need an open relationship. If we can't do that, then I don't think I can go through with the wedding." Silence. My brain just kind of stalled for a second. An open relationship. Now? 6 months before the wedding? I just looked at her. She had this expression like she was bracing for an explosion, or maybe expecting me to beg, to plead. Instead, I took a breath. A really deep one. "Okay," I said. Just like that. "Okay, Chloe. If that's what you need, then let's do it. An open relationship it is." Her jaw literally dropped. I could see the calculations whirring behind her eyes. This was not the reaction she anticipated. Not even close. "Wait, what?" she stammered. You're okay with this?" "Well, you said you needed it or the wedding is off," I replied, keeping my voice even. "I don't want the wedding to be off because you feel trapped or unfulfilled. So, yes, open relationship. We should probably set some ground rules, right?" She just stared, completely flustered. Yeah, ground rules, sure." But she hadn't thought that far. I could tell. This was supposed to be her power play, her way of getting what she wanted by threatening the wedding, thinking I'd cave. She didn't expect me to call her bluff so readily. "Great," I said, getting up. "Let's give it a think and we can discuss terms tomorrow. I'm gonna head out for a bit, clear my head." And I left her sitting there, looking like a fish out of water. The moment I was out the door, the calmness I'd projected started to crack. It hurt, like hell. 5 years, and this is what it came to? An ultimatum? But if this is what she wanted, if this was the test, or whatever BS she was pulling, then fine. Game on. Update 1. Taking her at her word. 1 week ago, so after Chloe's bombshell about needing an open relationship or the wedding's off, and my immediate agreement, things got interesting. The next day, Chloe was still acting weird, like she couldn't quite believe I wasn't throwing a fit or begging her to reconsider. She tried to initiate the ground rules talk, but it was vague. Stuff like being respectful and honesty. Standard, but also clear she hadn't thought this through beyond her own desires. I listened, nodded, and agreed to her very loose terms. No curfews, disclose if asked, use protection. Basic stuff. She seemed to think that her being the one to ask for this meant she'd be the only one acting on it. Or at least acting on it first and with enthusiasm. Lol. Here's where it gets fun. Or not fun, depending on your perspective. My perspective? She made the rules. I'm just playing the game. I have a pretty good memory for conversations. Over the years, Chloe has mentioned, often in passing, which of her friends have had crushes on me or made comments. Not in a jealous way, more like a "can you believe Maya said you had nice arms" kind of way. I filed those comments away. So, Wednesday evening after our ground rules chat, I did a little reaching out. First, Maya, 29, Chloe's friend from college, always bubbly, always friendly. I sent her a casual text. "Hey Maya, random question, you busy Friday night? Chloe and I are trying this open relationship thing, and I figured I'd see if you were free to grab a drink." Her reply was almost instant. "Wait, seriously? Chloe's agreed to this? And OMG, yes, I'm free." Next, Sophie, 31. Chloe's work colleague, a bit more reserved, but we've always had good banter at group events. My text to her. "Hey Sophie, hope you're having a good week. Chloe and I have decided to explore an open relationship for a bit. Any chance you'd be interested in dinner on Saturday?" Sophie's reply took about an hour. "That's unexpected. From Chloe? Are you sure? But yes, dinner sounds intriguing. I'm game." Finally, Isabel, 30, her childhood best friend. This was the boldest one, because Isabel is quite outspoken. My text. Isabel, long time no see properly. Quick heads up, Chloe and I are opening up our relationship. Wondering if you're around for coffee or something stronger next week? Isabel called me. What in the actual hell? Chloe suggested an open relationship? Is she insane? And you're asking me out? She set the terms, Isabel, I said calmly. I'm just seeing who's interested in a no-strings coffee or drink. Her idea, her rules. Isabel was silent for a moment. Then she laughed. A genuine, loud laugh. You magnificent bastard. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm horrified or impressed or both. Let me think about it, but damn, text me next week. Spoiler, she agreed to a let's see drink for Tuesday. So 3 dates lined up with her friends. I didn't say anything to Chloe immediately. I just let her see me on my phone a bit more, smiling a little. She kept giving me suspicious looks. On Thursday evening, I mentioned casually, oh, by the way, I've got a few plans this weekend, just giving you a heads up. Plans? She asked, a weird edge to her voice. What kind of plans? Just grabbing a drink with Maya tomorrow night, dinner with Sophie on Saturday, and maybe coffee with Isabel next week. I said it like I was discussing the weather. The color drained from her face. My friends? You asked out my friends? Yeah, I said. Is that a problem? We're open, remember? Your idea. She sputtered. But I didn't think you'd actually, with them. Why not? I asked, genuinely curious at this point. They're attractive, interesting people. And they were available. She just stared at me, mouth opening and closing. The entitlement was rolling off her in waves. She clearly thought this open relationship was a one-way street, a free pass for her, while I was supposed to sit at home, pining and miserable. The shock on her face was, well, it was something. Update 2. The backpedaling begins. 3 days ago, okay, so things escalated, predictably. After I told Chloe about my upcoming dates with Maya, Sophie, and Isabel, she lost it. Not in a screaming, throwing things way, that's not really her style, but in a very panicked, this is not how it was supposed to go kind of way. You can't do this, she insisted, voice tight with barely suppressed hysteria. Why not, Chloe? I asked, keeping my tone deliberately mild. You wanted an open relationship. These are the mechanics of an open relationship. Or did you have a different definition in mind? One where only you get to be open? She flinched. No, that's not it. It's just, my friends, it's disrespectful. Disrespectful to whom? I countered. To you, for taking you at your word? Or to them? They all said yes, by the way. Seemed pretty happy about it, actually. That last part really got under her skin. I could see it. The next 24 hours were a barrage of texts and calls from her. We need to talk. This isn't what I meant. You're trying to hurt me. You have to cancel those dates. I mostly just replied with variations of, Chloe, you were very clear. Open relationship, or the wedding is off. I chose the open relationship. Are you now saying you want to call off the wedding? That usually shut her up for a bit. The idea that I might be the one to pull the plug on the wedding based on her ultimatum clearly terrified her. But not enough to actually admit she'd made a massive miscalculation. Then came the flying monkeys. First, her brother, Liam, 33, called me. Liam's usually a decent guy, but he's fiercely protective of Chloe, sometimes to a fault. Dude, what are you doing? He started. No preamble. Chloe's a wreck, going on dates with her friends? Seriously? Liam, I said. Chloe gave me an ultimatum. An open relationship, or she wouldn't marry me. I agreed to her terms. What's the issue? Yeah, but an open relationship doesn't mean you go actively try to hook up with her entire social circle. It's about exploring. If the need arises. He sounded like he was parroting something Chloe had him. So the need should only arise for her? I asked. And when it does, who should she explore with? Strangers? My friends? What are the acceptable parameters here, Liam? Because Chloe was pretty vague. He got huffy. You're being an ass about this. She made a mistake, okay? She didn't think you'd react like this. Then she shouldn't have issued an ultimatum she wasn't prepared for me to accept, I said. I'm just following the rules she laid down. If she wants to change them, she knows how to talk to me. But so far, all I'm hearing is that I'm the bad guy for agreeing with her? Liam grumbled some more about me not being fair and making things difficult before hanging up. Apparently, me being fair means I should just roll over and accept her demands without exercising the same freedoms myself. The entitlement is strong in that family. Chloe then tried a different tactic. Tears. When I got home from work on Friday, just before I was supposed to meet Maya, she was on the sofa, sniffling. "I can't believe you're actually going," she whispered, eyes red. "Chloe," I said, sitting down a small distance away. "I'm doing what you said you needed. If you've changed your mind about wanting an open relationship, you need to say so. And if you do, we need to discuss what that means for the wedding, because your ultimatum was pretty clear." "But I don't want this," she cried. "I don't want you dating Maya, or Sophie, or Isabel." "So you want to call off the open relationship?" I pressed. "Yes, no, I don't know," she wailed. "I just want you to not go." "That's not how this works, Chloe," I said, standing up. "You set the terms. I'm adhering to them. I'll be back later." And I left. The look on her face was a mixture of fury, despair, and utter disbelief. The date with Maya was nice. We had a couple of cocktails. She admitted Chloe had been acting erratically lately and was surprised by the whole open relationship thing, but also said Chloe had always been a bit of a grass is greener type. Maya was fun, easy to talk to. Nothing physical happened beyond a hug, goodbye, but it was a pleasant evening. She did say, "Chloe is going to lose her mind when she hears you actually went through with this." I just shrugged. Chloe was waiting up when I got home, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "So, how was your date?" she asked, sarcasm dripping. "It was pleasant," I said, keeping it brief. "Maya's good company." "Did you sleep with her?" "Chloe, that's really not something I'm going to discuss in detail, just like I wouldn't expect you to detail your encounters. We agreed on disclose if asked, but not a full interrogation. It was a first date, a drink. That's all." She looked like she wanted to press, but I just went to the bedroom. The atmosphere was ice cold. Saturday dinner with Sophie is next. I have a feeling Chloe's attempts to shut this down are only going to get more frantic. She really thought she could have her cake and eat it too, without me even glancing at the dessert menu. Update 3, Consequences and Confrontations. Today, the saga continues, and the entitlement levels from Chloe have somehow managed to go even higher. My dinner with Sophie on Saturday night went ahead as planned. Sophie is sharp, and she pretty much called Chloe's play from the get-go. "She thought you'd fold, didn't she?" Sophie said over appetizers. "Chloe loves the idea of being desired by everyone, but she wants you as her safe, stable backup." Ouch, but accurate. Dinner was great, conversation flowed easily. Again, nothing physical, just good company. Sophie did mention Chloe had called her earlier that day, trying to get her to cancel, feeding her some story about how I was misinterpreting things and acting out. Sophie, to her credit, told Chloe that I'd been perfectly clear and that Chloe was the one who'd initiated the open relationship idea. When I got home Saturday night, Chloe was furious. This time, it wasn't just panicked tears. It was anger. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" she seethed. "You're deliberately trying to humiliate me." "Chloe, I'm literally just doing what you asked, or rather what you demanded as a condition for our marriage," I said, tired of the same circular argument. "You wanted open. This is open. If you wanted monogamy, you shouldn't have issued an ultimatum saying otherwise." "But I want us," she cried. "I want you. I made a mistake, a huge mistake. Can't you see that?" "I see that you tried to manipulate me," I said, and for the first time my voice was hard. "You put a gun to the head of our wedding, expecting me to beg you to put it down. Instead I said, okay, your terms, and now you're shocked that I'm actually following through." "So that's it?" she asked, her voice cracking. "You're just going to keep dating my friends? You're going to destroy our relationship and my friendships to prove a point?" "Our relationship was pretty much on life support the moment you gave me that ultimatum, Chloe. And your friendships seem to be fine." Maya and Sophie both seemed to understand the situation perfectly. They were more confused by your actions. Then came the big one. Her mother, Karen, let's call her that, it fits, called me on Sunday afternoon. I was expecting it. "I am so disappointed in you, my name," Karen began, her voice dripping with condemnation. "Chloe is heartbroken. How could you be so cruel as to flaunt other women in her face, especially her own friends?" "Karen," I replied, trying to keep my patience. "Chloe told me she needed an open relationship, or the wedding was off. I agreed to her terms. I am respecting her stated needs." "But she didn't mean it like that," Karen insisted. "She was just confused. Young women get confused before their weddings. You should have been the bigger person, reassured her, not taken her literally and run off with her friends. The sheer audacity. So I was supposed to psychically discern that her explicit ultimatum wasn't what she really meant? And being the bigger person involves letting her dictate terms that only apply to her? I don't think so, Karen. Chloe is an adult. She made an adult decision, and she's now seeing the adult consequences of that decision. Karen huffed about how I was immature and vindictive and how I was ruining everything. She said Chloe was now saying she wanted to call off the open relationship and the wedding because I had betrayed her trust. By Check's notes, doing exactly what Chloe had insisted upon. The mental gymnastics are Olympic level. Chloe herself has been alternating between sobbing apologies, angry accusations that I've planned this all along to get out of the wedding, lol what? And desperate pleas to just make it stop. She said she wants to call off the open relationship. Okay, I said. We can call off the open relationship. But Chloe, the ultimatum you gave me, that's not something I can just forget. You were willing to end our marriage over this supposed need. What happens next time you feel confused or need more? She had no answer. Just more tears. My date with Isabel is tomorrow, Tuesday. Isabel texted me this morning. Heard the drama is epic. Still on for that drink? I'm bringing popcorn, metaphorically speaking. I am still calm. But underneath, yeah, there's a part of me that's just done. This wasn't a simple miscommunication. This was a calculated move by Chloe, expecting me to crumble. Her shock isn't that the relationship is open, it's that I'm participating. The wedding is looking less and less likely, not because of the open relationship, but because the trust is just gone. She showed her hand, and it was not a good one. Final update, the dust settles. 1 month later, it's been a whirlwind, but I guess it's time to close this chapter out for anyone following. My drink with Isabel happened. It was enlightening. Isabel is incredibly blunt. She basically confirmed what Sophie hinted at. Chloe has a history of this kind of thing, testing boundaries, wanting what she can't have, and expecting others to adjust to her whims. Isabel didn't hold back on her opinion of Chloe's ultimatum, calling it incredibly stupid and selfish. We actually had a decent time, no romance, just a very honest conversation. Isabel did say she was surprised I called Chloe's bluff so thoroughly. Most guys would have either freaked out or just sulked, she commented. After that meeting, I sat Chloe down. No more games, no more tears from her side being the main event. Chloe, I started, this whole open relationship thing. You said you wanted to call it off. I agree. It's off. A flicker of hope in her eyes. But, I continued, the fact that you issued that ultimatum, open relationship where the wedding is off, that's the real issue here. You were ready to throw away 5 years, our entire future, because you supposedly needed this. And when I called you on it, your only problem was that I was also partaking, not that the premise itself was damaging. She started to interrupt, but I didn't mean for you to. It doesn't matter what you meant for me to do, Chloe. I cut her off, calmly but firmly. It matters what you said, what you demanded. You showed me that you're willing to detonate our life together on a whim, or as a manipulation tactic. I can't build a marriage on that foundation. So yeah, I told her the wedding is off. For real this time. From my end. Her reaction was a lot. First, disbelief. Then anger. How dare I call it off after she was the one willing to forgive me for my awful behavior? Her words, referring to me dating her friends, which she demanded I be free to do. Then came the begging, the promises it would never happen again, that she'd learned her lesson. Her brother, Liam, tried to intervene again, saying I was overreacting, that all couples have these pre-wedding jitters and weird fights. I told him this wasn't jitters. This was a fundamental betrayal of trust and a display of appalling selfishness from Chloe. Even her mother called my mom to try and get her to talk some sense into me. My mom, bless her, told Karen that I'm a grown man who makes his own decisions, and that from what I'd told her, Chloe had made her bed and now had to lie in it. The fallout for Chloe has been significant. Maya and Sophie are definitely keeping their distance from her. They both told me separately that Chloe tried to badmouth me to them, painting herself as the victim. But they saw through it. Isabel was never one to mince words, and apparently told Chloe exactly what she thought of her actions, which wasn't pretty. So Chloe's power play not only cost her the relationship, but also severely damaged her friendships. Good. That's what happens when you treat people like pawns. We're in the process of disentangling everything, canceling vendors, figuring out who gets what from the apartment. We're both moving out, no way I'm staying there. It's messy and expensive, but honestly, every cancellation fee is a small price to pay for dodging that bullet. I've had moments of sadness for the relationship I thought we had. A little bit of anger still lingers, sure, but mostly relief and a strange sense of calm. I didn't explode, I didn't beg. I just took her at her word, played by the rules she set, and let the natural consequences unfold. She engineered her own downfall. I'm not looking to date anyone right now. Definitely not any of Chloe's former friends. That was just a means to an end, a way to mirror her own stated desires. They were all cool about it, understood the dynamic. I'm focusing on myself, hitting the gym, reconnecting with my own friends. Moving on. Chloe, from what I hear, is miserable. She's apparently telling anyone who'll listen that I'm a cold, manipulative monster who tricked her. Some of her more distant acquaintances might believe her. Her family, predictably, supports her narrative. But the people who mattered, the ones who saw it unfold or were directly involved, they know the truth. She gambled, she lost. End of story. Thanks for letting me vent, Reddit. It's been weirdly therapeutic laying it all out. Onwards and upwards, I guess.